Dead human fingers cut to shreds as Xander tore through ancient wiring, deep inside a derelict ship, trying to disarm killer human sentinels determined to crush his skull for daring to intrude upon a 500,000-year-old tomb of mankind's ancient empire spanning the stars. The sentinels pursued, metallic footfalls approaching with inhuman persistence and inevitable brutality. Those legends were true. Xander gasped between panicked breaths, cowering behind a shattered bulkhead as railgun slugs the size of his torso ripped through alien alloys he couldn't even identify. An energy blast took his right arm off at the elbow, cauterizing flesh and bone instantly. He barely made it back to his own vessel, slamming the hatch closed as a final flurry of human bullets left craters in the hatch. But once in his pilot's seat, Xander smiled through splitting pain as blood loss threatened to steal his consciousness at any second. He'd just made the discovery of 10 generations. Humanity was real, and even 500,000 years extinct, their war machines were still ready to conquer the galaxy. "Commander, a single Nigen explorer vessel is hailing us," a Nigen officer announced as Admiral Zortok stared, mandibles quivering, at a human fleet that could dismantle his own 1,000 times over if they so desired to end his species' pathetic claim to the stars. Open a channel," Zortok stammered, watching railgun muzzles the size of planetoids tracking his dreadnought's every move, as if debating whether to snuff out his life with but an idle thought. "This is Admiral Zortok of the Nigen Empire." There was no response, but weapon ports across the human fleet burned like stars being born as energy coalesced within. We come in peace," a voice crackled to life over the comms, snapping Zortok out of his stupor. "This is Admiral Bruce Baker of the Human Imperium. Your fleet is trespassing in restricted space. Withdraw immediately." The words were spoken in perfect Nigen. Zortok shared a shocked look with his comms officer before responding. "Admiral Baker, I am Admiral Zortok of the Nigen Empire. We thought your species long extinct, that your civilization had fallen over 500,000 years ago. What happened to you? Why did you vanish?" There was a long pause. Zortok held his breath. When Baker replied, his voice was flat. "We went beyond, but that is not your concern. I will not ask again. Leave this space at once or face the consequences." Xander gripped Zortok's shoulder. "Sir, we should go. We're no match for them." Zortok shook him off. "We have a right to study that derelict, to learn from it. Imagine what their technology could do for our empire." Baker's voice turned to ice. "Then you have chosen to learn the hard way." The human fleet opened fire. Lances of blinding energy slashed across the void, punching through the Nigen shields like they weren't even there. The flagship shuddered as beam after beam tore it apart. Consoles exploded in showers of sparks. Crewmen screamed. "Evasive maneuvers," Zortok roared. "Get us out of here." But it was too late. The dreadnought was already a burning wreck, life support failing, escape pods launching, and still the humans fired, ruthlessly hunting down the fleeing Nigen ships. Xander dragged Zortok into their scout ship, the two of them tumbling into the cockpit. As another volley raked the hangar, Xander's hands flew over the controls, plotting an emergency jump. The stars outside the viewport stretched into lines as the ship leaped to FTL, leaving the one-sided massacre behind. But Zortok knew, with a sinking feeling, that this was only the beginning, that the humans had returned. And the galaxy would tremble before them once more. The ragged remnants of the Nigen fleet limped back to Nias Prime, a trail of debris and frozen corpses in their wake. Xander sat in his bunk, staring blankly at the bulkhead as the ship shuddered and groaned around him. His mind replayed the massacre over and over, the impossible sight of the human ships shredding his people's fleet like tissue paper. How could they be so advanced? What had they discovered in their long absence from the galactic stage? As soon as they landed, Xander threw himself into research. Determined to unravel the enigma of the humans, he spent long hours in the archives, poring over fragmented records and faded artifacts. Slowly, a picture began to emerge. The humans had once been a young, aggressive species, much like the Nigerians themselves. But then, in the span of a few short decades, they had made a series of breakthroughs that catapulted them centuries ahead of any other known race. Alexander's heart raced as he read accounts of impossible technologies, of energy sources that dwarfed stars and weapons that could unmake planets, and at the center of it all, a device the humans had called the Singularity Engine. But what was it? What did it do? The records were maddeningly vague, hinting at a power beyond comprehension. As the years passed, Xander rose through the ranks of the Nigerian R&D division, driven by his obsession. The leadership, still smarting from their defeat, poured vast resources into reverse engineering the scraps of human tech they had recovered, but it was like cavemen trying to understand a fusion reactor. Even their most advanced prototypes were laughably primitive compared to the centuries-old human ships. As Xander's lab became a shrine to the humans, every surface crowded with relics and schematics. His team labored day and night trying to unlock the secrets of the ancients. But the more they learned, the more questions they had. What had driven the humans to disappear? Where had they gone? And why, after 500,000 years, had they returned? The mystery consumed Xander, haunting his dreams and driving him to the brink of madness. He barely ate, barely slept, spending every waking moment hunched over his work. His superiors whispered that he had gone too far, that his obsession was dangerous. But Xander didn't care. He would find the truth no matter the cost. And so he searched, year after year, decade after decade, chasing the ghost of a species that had long since passed into legend. The Singularity Engine loomed in his mind, a taunting cipher that held the key to everything. If he could just find it, just understand it. But the years took their toll. Xander grew old, his once sharp mind dulled by age and obsession. And still, the humans remained as elusive as ever, their secrets locked away in the depths of time. The Nijin Empire, once so proud and mighty, had become a shadow of its former self, crushed beneath the weight of a foe it could never hope to match. And Xander, the great scientist, the one who had come closer than any to unraveling the mystery, could only watch as his life's work crumbled to dust. Xander's liver-spotted hands shook as he inserted the data crystal into the ancient Nijin computer core. The machine, a relic from the early days of their empire, hummed and whirred as it struggled to process the information. Xander held his breath, watching lines of data scroll across the screen. There, coordinates buried in a mire of corrupted files and fragmented records, the location of a human research station abandoned 500,000 years ago. Xander's heart raced. This was it. This was the key to everything. He burst into the council chamber, startling the assembled Nigerian leadership. Admiral Kaval, a towering figure with a jagged scar across his face, glared at the intrusion. "Xander, we're in the middle of a meeting. This better be important." Xander slammed the datapad down on the table. "It is. I found it. A human facility from before they disappeared. It's in the Gorin system. We have to go there now." Kaval's eyes narrowed. The Gorin system. That's a wasteland. Nothing there but dead worlds and black holes. Xander shook his head. "No. There's something there, something the humans left behind. I'm sure of it." Kaval picked up the datapad, scanning the information. His mandibles twitched. "This is a lot of ships to commit to a wild goose chase, Xander. The council won't approve it." Xander leaned forward, his voice urgent. "Admiral, please. This is our chance. Our chance to understand the humans, to learn from them. We can't let it slip away." Xander was silent for a long moment. Then slowly he nodded. "All right. I'll take it to the council. But if this turns out to be a waste of time," Xander smiled, "it won't be. I promise you that." The Nigerian fleet dropped out of warp at the edge of the Gorin system, a vast armada of sleek, deadly ships. They'd come a long way in the decades since their defeat at the hands of the humans, their technology advancing by leaps and bounds. But still, as they hung there in the void, Xander couldn't shake the feeling that they were hopelessly outmatched. "Admiral, "We're picking up an energy signature from the fourth planet," a sensor officer reported. "It's faint but definitely artificial." Kval leaned forward in his command chair. "Impossible. That planet is a radioactive hellscape. Nothing could survive there." Xander felt a chill run down his spine. "It's them. It has to be." The fleet approached cautiously, scanners probing the planet's surface. As they drew closer, a shape began to resolve on the view screens. A ship, but unlike any the Nijins had ever seen. It was colossal, easily dwarfing their largest dreadnought. Its hull a seamless blend of curves and angles that seemed to defy physics, and emblazoned on its flank in letters that glowed like captured stars. Infinity's Edge. The bridge was silent, every Nijin staring in awe and terror at the behemoth before them. Xander felt his mouth go dry. They were insects before this thing, this impossible construct of a long-dead race. "They're powering up weapons," the tactical officer said, his voice shaking. "Energy readings are off the scale." Panic swept through the fleet like a living thing, ships suddenly breaking formation and scattering like frightened animals. Kval gripped the arms of his chair, his knuckles pale. "Hold position," he barked. "Do not fire, comms. Open a channel to that ship now." The comms officer swallowed hard, his fingers flying over his console. "Channel opened." "Sir." Kval took a deep breath. "This is Admiral Kval of the Nigian Empire. We come in peace, seeking only knowledge and understanding. Please respond." The seconds ticked by, each one an eternity. The human ship loomed before them, silent and inscrutable. And then, Neo-Hedjan Fleet, this is the Infinity's Edge. Your presence here is a violation of our territory. The voice was cold, emotionless, and utterly alien. Xander felt a shiver run through him. The humans had changed in their long absence from the galaxy, changed into something else. Kval straightened in his seat. "We apologize for the intrusion. We mean no harm. We only wish to learn from you to understand the marvels of your technology." A pause then. "You are not ready for what we have to offer. Leave now and do not return. This is your only warning." Varl's jaw tightened. Xander could see the indecision in his eyes, the warring impulses of caution and ambition. He leaned in close. "Admiral, we have to press on. We've come too far to turn back now." Kval hesitated a moment longer, then he nodded. "Infinity's Edge, we cannot comply with your demand. The pursuit of knowledge is the highest calling of our species. We will not be deterred." Silence from the human ship. Xander held his breath. And then, with a blast of white light that seared his eyes, the Infinity's Edge opened fire. The Infinity's Edge absorbed the Nigerian fleet's weapons fire without so much as a shudder. Impossibly advanced shields shimmered and danced, redistributing the energy in dazzling fractal patterns. Xander stared in horrified awe as the human ship retaliated with a precise volley that surgically crippled the Nijin vessels, leaving them drifting and helpless, but not destroyed. "Ceasefire! Ceasefire!" Kval shouted over the chaos on the bridge. "Comms, are they responding?" The comms officer shook his head, mandibles quivering. "No, sir. Wait. We're being hailed. Audio and visual. On screen." The view screen flickered and Xander gasped. Instead of Admiral Baker, a shimmering hologram of a human male stood before them, projected in stunning detail. His features were angular and sharp, his eyes a piercing blue that seemed to stare into Xander's very soul. "I am the AI caretaker of the Infinity's Edge," the hologram said, his voice resonant and clear. "Your aggression was unwarranted, but not unexpected. We have no wish to destroy you, only to protect what is ours." Kval stood, his posture stiff with a mix of fear and humility. "We apologize for our actions. We are the Nigian Empire, and we came seeking knowledge of your species. We meant no offense." The AI tilted his head, a curiously human gesture. "Knowledge. Then listen well, Nijins, for I will share with you the truth of the humans and their ultimate fate." Xander leaned forward, his heart pounding. This was it, the answer to the question that had driven him for so long. The AI began to speak, weaving a tale of a species driven by an insatiable hunger for advancement. The humans, he explained, had reached the pinnacle of scientific understanding and discovered a fatal flaw in the fabric of reality itself, a flaw that, left unchecked, would lead to the heat death of the universe and the end of all existence. Faced with this existential crisis, the humans poured all their resources into finding a solution. The AI continued. The result was the Singularity Engine, a device capable of transcending the boundaries of our universe and accessing a higher dimension where the floor could be corrected. Xander's mind reeled a higher dimension, the secrets of the universe itself. It was beyond anything he had ever imagined. But the engine required a vast amount of energy to function, the AI said. And the only way to obtain that energy was for the entire human species to upload their consciousness into the device, leaving their physical bodies behind. A stunned silence fell over the bridge. The AI's words hung in the air, heavy with implication. The humans now exist as pure energy within the higher dimension, the AI explained, working tirelessly to repair the floor and ensure the continued existence of our universe. The infinity's edge and the fleet you see before you are merely automated guardians left behind to protect the knowledge and technology we had amassed. Kval found his voice. And what of us? What fate do you intend for the Nijin Empire? The AI smiled, a strange sight on an artificial face. We offer you a choice, Nijins. Join us in our higher dimensional existence. Lend your consciousness to our grand purpose, or be content with the knowledge that the universe is being safeguarded by a species far beyond your comprehension. The decision is yours. Kor was silent for a long moment, then slowly he bowed his head. The Nijin Empire recognizes the sovereignty of the human species in whatever form they now exist. We will leave your secrets undisturbed and depart in peace. But Xander stepped forward, his eyes blazing with a fierce light. I choose to stay to join the humans in their endeavor. I have spent my life seeking to understand the universe. How can I turn away from the chance to truly comprehend its mysteries? The AI nodded as if he had expected this. Then prepare yourself, Xander of the Nigerians. The upload process is irreversible. Your physical form will be left behind, a husk as your consciousness ascends to a higher plane. Xander took a deep breath, steeling himself. He turned to cavil to his crewmates, his friends. Tell our people what happened here. Tell them the truth of the humans and of the choice I made. And know that I go willingly and with joy in my heart. Then, without hesitation, he stepped into the shimmering field that appeared before him, a conduit to the higher dimension. He felt his consciousness expand, his mind unshackled from the limits of flesh and bone. And as the Nijin fleet watched in astonished silence, Xander's body crumpled to the deck, a lifeless shell, while his essence merged with the human overmind, a new voice in the chorus of their cosmic symphony. If you finish this story, please subscribe and like the video, then leave a comment that says I like the story, and I will heart every single one of them. It really helps me. Thank you for your time.